Hi, I just got home from watching the Minecraft movie. Yes, my glasses are very reflective. I'm just gonna look like a nerd for the entire duration of this video. I'm not sorry. Um, it's a really fucking weird movie. Spoilers for that, by the way. You know, in case you weren't expecting those. Um, Expectedly from the trailers, it's a very nothing movie that's basically just full of quips. But it's that to it feels almost exactly like the trailer. And I was hoping for the movie to have a little bit more of a theme or like a story, but it very much feels like they had 8 hours to write the movie. They spent seven and a half of those hours coming up with, oh, what if this happened and what if that happened? Just what if Steve said this? What if there was a pig, but he was wearing a crown like Technoblade? And that specific one was funny because everybody in the theater where I watched it just started clapping. Um, but it just feels like they came up with a bunch of tropes. They came up with a bunch of one-liners, and then in the last 30 minutes of the meeting, they were like, "Oh shit, we forgot to write a story," and then they were just like, "What if there's what if there's the piglins that hate fun and they're evil and they hate fun? What if they attack the overworld? You know, and that's it. That is the story um, of the Minecraft movie. The entire idea, like the main villain, is this like piglin witch, um, and it, and I. Now that I'm thinking of it, that is such a fucking insane backstory for the main antagonist of the movie. She hates fun and creativity and happiness because she was laughed at Nether's Got Talent. That's what they wrote. That's the thing they came up with, and like the backstory is meant to be like, it's a joke, right? It's a bit. What if there was Got Talent, but in the Nether and they're all pigs? Wouldn't that be silly? Wouldn't that be crazy? And yeah, it is silly and it is crazy, but that's all the characterization this character gets. Um, Besides, just being an old woman who's, like bored of life, I guess, or whatever. She's just like a cranky old woman who hates fun, and that's it. That's her character. Then we have the other, I guess, the second main antagonist. He's barely in the movie, but I'm specifically talking about him, General Chungus, because that's a crazy fucking name. But also, in the Portuguese dub, he's voiced by uh, Feromones, who is a very, well, he hasn't made videos in a while, but he was the most popular Portuguese YouTuber, and he was mainly doing Minecraft stuff. And I don't know, just hearing him, not even really trying to do a voice, he was just talking. He was just saying the lines in his own voice. And, just the fact that it's him voicing General Chungus is honestly the best thing about at least the Portuguese version of the movie. Um, then you have the main characters who are certainly uh, characters from a movie. You got the trash man. What's his name? Garrett. It's Garrett, right? Uh, you got Garrett, you got the kid and his older sister, and then you got the that other woman and not particularly engaging characters. You know, the whole thing is that the I don't even remember his name. Fuck. The kid?
Henry.
Henry. Um Henry is, you know, apart from Steve as like the main, you know, it's the protagonist that's meant to be like relatable to kids, I guess. Uh and you know, he's this very creative kid, but you know, the kids at school make fun of him because, and get this, he wants to be a scientist. What a nerd, am I right? Who would ever want that? That's like the least cool thing ever. Um, so yeah, he wants to be a scientist, and he's, you know, a very creative kid. And then his older sister is just kind of there. She briefly, close to the beginning of the movie, um, she like creates, you know, this conflict between her and Henry because she's like, oh, you know, Henry, you know, he's kind of a loser. And then get this, Henry hears her and then he gets mad at her. But then when they get together again, because they're separated for like half the movie, when they see each other again, they hug and say that they love each other. And that's, you know, just another very extremely common thing that just happens in movies. Um, then the then Garrett is this sort of mentor figure for Henry, and the other woman, I don't even know her name.
I think it's Dawn.
Is it Dawn? I think it. Yeah, you're right. She's just there. She doesn't do much or really anything. Um, yeah, she's just there, and she doesn't. You know, there's this one scene when they get into the Minecraft world. She, uh, she makes fun of Garrett for trying to talk to a sheep, and which is the scene from the trailers as well. And yeah, I don't know why she's in the movie. Very, very nothing character. Might as well have cut her out of the movie, and it probably would have been mostly the same. Um, the entire thing, and this is something when I was watching it right at the beginning, I whispered to my wife, and you know, it turned out that the entire movie was almost exactly like that. Is that it feels like it was edited like a trailer. Um, a lot of the scenes, a lot of the shots, especially in the intro, the entire intro. I don't even know how long it was, but you know, it's like 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes. I don't think it was that long. Whatever. Is basically just a trailer. And yeah, that was kind of jarring. It's like when the actual movie started, it got a little bit better, but there was still a lot of, you know, if you grabbed any 5 minutes of the movie and put it on YouTube and called it a trailer, most people would believe you. Um, all of the scenes are very short. That I guess that's the thing. There's a lot of like really short. There's a lot of cuts to like different angles, and um, I don't know, the camera moves around a lot in the way that it would in a trailer. Um, a lot of the shots, and I'm thinking specifically of the one of Henry's sister and Dawn are running away from like a bunch of skeletons or zombies or whatever, and they're running away, and the camera is right in front of them. The camera is moving backwards, and the way that they're moving just feels makes the entire shot feel uh like a nostalgia critic's kid. The way just the way it's acted out, and and just the shot. I can't really explain exactly what makes a shot look like it's out of a nostalgia critic video, but there's it's a very specific mix of the camera is too close to your actors and they don't have a lot of space behind them because there's a green screen and it's right behind them, and the characters aren't really running, they're pretending to run. And I think in the movie, in this specific shot, they are actually running, but it still looks like someone grabbed a shot out of a nostalgia critic video and made it look good, for lack of a better uh, for lack of a better term. Uh, the fucking spiders bothered me a lot, and that's just because I'm really, really afraid of spiders, and I just needed to say that. Obviously, the movie looks like shit. Its art direction is just, again, that's the thing everybody has been hearing since the first trailer came out, but it is just, why did this have to be live action? Why did this movie have to take this shape? Um, I feel like the reason is just because the plot is, real world people they're transported into this wacky different world where, can you believe this? Everything's made out of blocks. Isn't that silly? Um, they don't really say anything like that, fortunately, but I don't know. But the whole story of the movie is basically, the bad guys hate fun and happiness and creativity, and the good guys, Steve and the gang, they love that shit. And there's this one scene towards the end of the movie, right at the end of the movie, where Steve is talking to the main antagonist, and I'm terrible with names, obviously, so I also don't remember her name, but it doesn't matter. um Again, not much of a character anyways. And he's talking to her, and she's like, yeah, creativity really has the chance to really make you sad. um and then Steve is like, yeah, but it can also make you really happy. That's not exactly how it goes, but that's basically the gist of that interaction. And it feels like, the last day of shooting they had, they were like, oh shit, we forgot to put a moral of the story. And it ended up being just, like a bootleg version of the Lego movie, where, creativity is awesome. Isn't that cool? Isn't that a good story? Aren't you happy with these themes of, you know placing blocks and shit? It's pretty cool. But, the bad guys, the piglins, yeah, they just destroyed blocks and shit. And yeah, the entire thing feels like a collection of clips stretched out to uh almost 2 hours, right? Like hour and a half. Yeah. Um, it just feels like a loose collection of clips stretched out to 2 hours, and there's nothing particularly good to it. My computer keeps making bad noises. It's a movie, but only in the most literal sense. It has no story, no themes, no message, and the fucking piglins. I don't understand why they decided to not write them, because these aren't characters. This is, like did a child write this movie? The main antagonists are just evil and they hate fun, and there's no reason for them to do it. And is it like a do the piglins want to invade the overworld as like a because they want more power, they want more control or whatever? That's not communicated in the movie at all. It's just because they like destroying stuff, I guess. Are they looking for gold? That seems to be. There's a lot of lines where it's like, yeah, we're piglins and we love gold. Is that it? Are they looking for gold? Um, I don't know. It's just a couple of, just a bunch of empty husks pretending to be characters. Um, they have the the writers gave them the depth of a cardboard cutout, and like obviously it's a kids movie. Who cares? But like, I care. I mentioned the Lego movie earlier. That was a really fucking good movie. That movie was great, and it was for kids. Um, and I don't think we should just like, oh, who cares? It's a kids movie. Like, kids movies should be good. Uh, and yeah, I just don't. It was just not good. Also, the movie seemingly takes place in the 80s, or at least has, like 80s or 90s. Mm-hmm.
Along with Steve.
Well, and Jason Momoa as well.
Well, he was in the 80s, but it's set in modern day.
Is it?
Hmm.
Because it just has,
Natalie,
regardless, it just has.
Natalie had an iPhone.
Oh my god, you're right. But it just has so many 80s tropes, is what I mean. I don't know how I missed that. I mean, I didn't. I was literally gonna tell you in the theater, like, oh my god, holy iPhone, but then I didn't. Um, but yeah, the movie does take place in modern day, but there are a lot of '80s tropes and '80s references. They, there's the scene at the beginning where they reference an old Atari console that I've never heard of. Which one was it?
The Cosmos.
The Atari Cosmos. And it's just signaling to the audience of, parents, like, hey, do you remember this? You remember the Atari Cosmos? No? Yeah, me neither. Um, I don't think anybody does, frankly. Uh, my girlfriend's nodding. Uh, and yeah, it's just there's just nothing to the movie. There's no story, there's no characters, and the only message, the only thing the movie is saying is that creativity is awesome. And it is, but, you know, I didn't need you to tell me that. I didn't need to spend an hour, like an hour and a half or 2 hours just to hear that. And it is not good. Another very bad thing is that Steve and Garrett never kissed. There is, unironically, a surprising amount of just vaguely. There is just. It's basically just one scene, the one with the elytras, and it's pretty much played for jokes. But I do think my headcanon is that they are, once they get back to the real world, they are dating, because the implication is that they are living together. Um, and so yeah, Steve and Garrett the trash man, it's fucking Johnny Garbage or whatever, uh, they are dating in my headcanon. Um, so uh, I would like to see drawings of them kissing. That would be awesome. Uh, but fuck, I completely forgot the other thing I was gonna say. Right, the post credits scene. Like, it's Alex, all right. It's her, and again, the movie is shit. I am so glad that so far it's been a box office success, because I really really hope they make a second one, because apart from everything I just said, apart from the movie, it was unironically a great time, mostly because you know it's fun to make fun of. The Warner Brothers very much, I think consciously, I think they did it on purpose. Made a they purpose I think they purposefully made a movie that is like so bad it's good. Maybe uh they didn't start out with that goal, but at least, you know, they probably are going to start out with that goal in mind if the sequel does happen. And I think that's why that one is probably not going to be as good or as funny, because you can only say Flint and Steel so many times, and it's only funny so many times. And if they try to self-reference, which, again, if a second movie happens, that is a thing that will happen. They will have Jack Black saying, "Hey Alex, look, I just crafted a Flint and Steel," and then it's not going to be funny. Um, but yeah, the movie is shit. It's nothing, and I love it, and I sincerely hope they do make a second one. Even though that one is definitely going to be worse. So I don't think I'm forgetting anything. But so yeah, like, thanks for watching my Minecraft movie review. Stay tuned for my review of, what's the movie coming out soon? Um,
The
Avenger,
Amateur.
the Amateur. I'm gonna watch that and review it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. So stay tuned for that. Bye.